Government announces tax exemption for expenditure on COVID-19 treatment. Ex gratia received. Grants further extension in timelines of compliances. Union Health Secretary writes to 8 states and union territories to take up immediate containment measures, including preventing crowds, conducting widespread testing, as well as increasing vaccine coverage on a priority basis, asking them to take up steps to prevent the spread of Delta Plus variant of COVID-19. A steady decline in new COVID-19 infections in the country. Active cases in India fall to 612,000. Daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 33rd consecutive day. Recovery rate rises to 96.66%. India's COVID-19 vaccine coverage crosses the landmark of 31 crore. More than 8.04 crore vaccine doses administered in the age group of 18 to 44 so far. On the 5th day of new phase of COVID-19 vaccination, more than 54.48 lakh vaccine doses administered. External Affairs Minister Dr S Jaishankar welcomed by his counterpart Nikos Dendias upon his arrival in Greece early Saturday. External Affairs Minister to hold bilateral talks with his counterpart today. Dr S Jaishankar to also travel to Italy to attend G20 ministerial meetings. US President Joe Biden calls on Afghans to decide their future as withdrawal nears end. Biden meets Afghan President Ashraf Ghani and his former political foe Abdullah Abdullah. Biden says US support for Afghanistan was not ending but would be sustained despite the US pullout. And in football, knockout phase of Euro 2020 begins today. Denmark will take on Wales in Amsterdam, while Italy will lock horns with Austria in Wembley. Very good morning, I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Let's start with our top story. The centre has announced a tax exemption to incentivize employers and members of public for assisting people with COVID-19 treatment expenses and also those who have lost their kin to the virus. Minister of State for Finance Anurag Thakur said the amount paid for treatment of an employee by an employer or to any other person in 2019-20 and subsequently will not be taxed.
There is income tax concession for payments towards COVID-19 treatment or death. Amount paid for the medical treatment to an employee by an employer or to any person by any other person on account of the treatment of COVID for the financial year 1920 and subsequent year would not be taxed in the hands of the employee or any person receiving the benefit. Ex gratia payment by an employer to an employee's family or by any person to any other person's family on the death of the employee or any other person on the account of COVID for the financial year 1920 or subsequent year would be exempt from tax. Ex gratia payment from any other person is to be restricted to rupees 10 lakh.
Next story, Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan wrote a letter to Chief Secretaries of 8 states and the Union Territories asking them to take up immediate containment measures, including preventing crowds, conducting widespread testing, as well as increasing vaccine coverage on a priority basis in districts where the Delta Plus variant of COVID-19 has been detected. In a letter to Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Gujarat and Haryana, the Health Secretary urged them to ensure that adequate samples of people who test positive for COVID-19 are promptly sent to the designated laboratories of Indian SARS-CoV-2 genomic consortia so that clinical epidemiological correlations can be established. The letter even asked to take immediate containment measures in districts where cases of patients infected with the Delta Plus variant of COVID-19 has been found. Bhushan in his letter said widespread testing, prompt tracing and vaccine coverage on a priority basis is necessary. Now let's get you to date on the COVID-19 situation in the country. New COVID-19 infections are on a steady decline, which is a huge relief. Vaccinations are going up, which is welcome too, but the government is not dropping its guard because the Delta Plus variant remains a cause of concern. More in this report.
Government is leaving no stone unturned in fight against coronavirus. The new variant of the virus is being closely monitored so that a better strategy can be prepared to prevent its spread. Health Ministry has clarified about the Delta Plus variant that its effect is currently seen only in isolated places in some states.
आज की तारीख में अगर मैं आपको बताऊं तो करीब 50 केसेस पूरे हिंदुस्तान में 12 जिलों में पाए गए हैं और इन 50 केसेस से ये भी हमारे 3 पिछले माह में फैले हुए हैं। मुख्यतः जो है महाराष्ट्र में सबसे ज़्यादा है, महाराष्ट्र के बाद तमिलनाडु में 9 केसेस हैं, उसके बाद केरल में और उसके बाद हमारे एक जो है मध्य प्रदेश में 7 केसेस पाए गए हैं। अब आज की तो ये हमारे राज्य हैं जहाँ पे कि हम इसको मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं और इन राज्यों में भी ये अलग अलग जिलों में बटे हुए हैं, इसलिए कोई एक पर्टिकुलर राज्य में ये नहीं कह सकते कि 7 से लेके 20 हो गए एक ही दिन उसमें या एक ही उसमें कुछ इतने दिनों में, तो ऐसा कुछ इसमें नहीं है। लेकिन हम लोग इसके ऊपर एक पैनी निगाह रखे हुए हैं और जैसे ही उसमें कुछ मुख्य तब्दीली आएगी तो हम डेफिनेटली साइंटिफिक एविडेंस से उसको आपको भी बताएंगे।
In the meantime, states and union territories are actively engaged in the prevention of Delta Plus variant.
अब एनसीडीसी भोपाल में ही जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग की मशीन लगा रही है। कमला नेहरू अस्पताल के 6th फ्लोर वो हमने उसको दिया है और उसके माध्यम से अब इस तरह के वेरिएंट का जो अलग अलग वेरिएंट आ रहे हैं उसकी जांच की रिपोर्ट हमें 5 दिन के अंदर मिलेगी, जिससे हम समय से ही भोपाल में ही जांच शुरू हो जाएगी, जिससे हम कॉन्टैक्ट ट्रेसिंग वगैरह समय पर कर पाएंगे।
On the other hand, coronavirus daily cases are declining every day. India reports 51,667 new cases in last 24 hours. 64,527 patients recovered during last 24 hours. India's active caseload declines to 6,12,868. Recovery rate increases to 96.66%. Weekly positivity rate remains below 5%, currently at 3%. Delhi positivity rate at 2.98%, less than 5% for 18 consecutive days. Testing capacity substantially ramped up, 39.95 crore tests conducted so far. On the vaccination front, the drive is going on fast pace in the country. So far, more than 31 crore doses of vaccines have been given in the country. The union government is providing corona vaccines to the states free of cost. So far, more than 30 crore 54 lakh vaccines have been made available to the states and union territories. Still, 1.5 crore vaccines are available with the states and union territories. More than 47 lakh vaccines are to be sent to the states within the next 3 days.
कोई फेक वैक्सीन या कहीं पर भी कुछ ऐसे विषय आते हैं, जरूरी है कि उनको लोकल डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन स्टेट स्थाई पर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया उन स्टेट से कोऑर्डिनेट करके जो रिक्वायर्ड एक्शन है वह लिया जाएगा।
In the meantime, a special team has been formed to investigate the fake vaccine drive in Mumbai. Deputy Commissioner of Police Vishal Thakur will head the team. Several FIRs have been registered at 5 police stations in city and 10 accused have been arrested so far. Recently, Bombay High Court had directed BMC and the Maharashtra government to ensure such drive do not get conducted again. On the other hand, the Union Health Ministry has said that the necessary action will be taken in this matter. Bureau Report, DD India.
You would recall the oxygen shortage crisis in Delhi a few months ago, and at the time the Delhi government raised a hue and cry over the lack of critical supplies to hospitals in the capital, and now it turns out that Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and his government in Delhi inflated and exaggerated the need for the medical oxygen. A new report says there was a quote-unquote gross discrepancy in the manner in which the Delhi government recorded the requirement of medical oxygen by its hospitals, and the BJP says at least 12 states had to suffer due to Delhi's inflated demand.
The Supreme Court Oxygen Audit Team has put the Delhi government in the dock for exaggerating the oxygen requirement by more than 4 times during the 25th of April to 10th of May peak of the second wave of COVID-19. The Oxygen Audit Committee has noted gross discrepancy in the Delhi government's claims on consumption in comparison to the calculated consumption. The subgroup's interim report said the Delhi government's claim of 1,140 metric tons was 4 times higher than the calculated consumption as per bed capacity formula, which was 289 metric tons only. The oxygen audit team informed the Supreme Court that the supply of excess oxygen to Delhi could have affected supply to 12 states with a high case load. On 5th of May, the court had ordered the central government to supply 700 metric tons daily to Delhi, though the central government had argued that it was an inflated claim. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar slammed the Delhi government. In a tweet, he said, actual oxygen consumption claimed was about 4 times higher than the calculated consumption, due to which other states had to bear the loss. Delhi government only knows how to make noise. BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra hit out at the Delhi government too. He said the data presented by the Oxygen Audit Committee in the report is shocking and that the Delhi government politicized the oxygen supply when COVID-19 was at its peak.
ऑक्सीजन को लेकर जिस प्रकार की राजनीति अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने और दिल्ली सरकार ने किया, आज उसका पर्दाफाश हुआ है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक ऑक्सीजन ऑडिट पैनल, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यह निर्धारित किया था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस पैनल को स्थापित किया था और वो पैनल का रिपोर्ट कहता है कि जो ऑक्सीजन की रिक्वायरमेंट दिखाई गई थी दिल्ली सरकार द्वारा, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी द्वारा, वो 4 गुना बढ़ा करके दिखाई गई थी। 4 times inflated oxygen requirement by Delhi.
Patra said the Delhi government is spreading lies to hide its own failures in managing COVID-19. He said that more than 12 states had to suffer due to Delhi's inflated demand.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के इस झूठ के कारण 12 ऐसे राज्य थे पूरे हिंदुस्तान में जो अफेक्टेड हुए अपने ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई को लेकर, क्योंकि सब जगह से ऑक्सीजन काट करके दिल्ली भेजना पड़ा, क्योंकि अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कह रहे थे उनको बहुत ऑक्सीजन की आवश्यकता है, मगर वास्तविक आवश्यकता उतनी नहीं थी और 12 राज्य जहां कोविड के बहुत केसेस थे उनको सफर करना पड़ा, उत्तर प्रदेश को सफर करना पड़ा, हरियाणा को सफर करना पड़ा, बाकी राज्यों को सफर करना पड़ा है। आप सोचिए जरा, ये जघन्य अपराध अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने किया।
Last month, the court constituted a 12-member national task force to assess and recommend availability and supply of medical oxygen and essential medicines to the states and union territories. The oxygen audit panel was led by All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, Director Dr. Randeep Guleria. It included Delhi Government Principal Home Secretary Bhupender Bhalla, Max Healthcare Director Dr. Sandeep Budhiraja and Jal Shakti Ministry Joint Secretary Subodh Yadav. Bureau Report, DD India.
Dr S Jaishankar reached Greece early on Saturday. He was welcomed by his counterpart Nikos Dendias. Dr S Jaishankar tweeted an image with the Foreign Minister of Greece and said both had productive discussion on regional and global issues. Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a 2-day visit to Greece, said the country is an important partner in India's broader EU engagement. Dr. S. Jaishankar and Nikos Dendias are scheduled to hold formal talks, and this is Dr. Jaishankar's first visit at the External Affairs Minister level since 2003. And after Greece, the minister will travel to Italy to attend the G20 ministerial meetings. Moving further, Union Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad's Twitter handle was suspended on Friday when the microblogging site denied access to minister's Twitter handle for an hour. As per a screenshot shared by the minister, a Twitter notification said that under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of the US, copyright owners can notify Twitter claiming that a user has infringed their copyrighted work. Responding to Twitter's claim, Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said in a series of tweets that Twitter's actions were in gross violation of Rule 4.8 of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021, where they failed to provide me any prior notice before denying me access to my own account. It is apparent that my statements calling out the high hardiness and arbitrary actions of Twitter, particularly sharing the clips of my interviews through TV channels and its powerful impact, have clearly ruffled its feathers. And in the past several years, no television channel or any anchor has made any complaints about copyright infringements with regards to these new clips of my interviews shared on social media. In another tweet, the minister added that no matter what any platform does, they will have to abide by the new IT rules fully, and there shall be no compromise on that. A similar incident was faced by former Union Minister and Congress leader Shashi Tharoor, who had posted a video that included a copyright Bollywood music, but Tharoor went on to question the notice which came from the UK, citing Twitter's role as service provider under a US law. Seeking an explanation from the social media platform, Shashi Tharoor tweeted, this is what he tweeted: as chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information Technology, I can state that we will be seeking an explanation from Twitter India for the locking of Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad's and my accounts and the rules and procedures they follow while operating in India. International stories now. US President Joe Biden met Afghan President Ashraf Ghani and his former political foe Abdullah at the White House in Washington. During the meeting, Biden called on Afghans to decide the future of their country as the last US troops pack up after 20 years of war and government forces struggle to repel Taliban advances. Biden said the US support for Afghanistan was not ending but would be sustained despite the US pullout. The Financial Action Task Force has refused to take Pakistan out of the grey list yet again. It said Pakistan had failed to take appropriate action against UN-designated terrorists such as 2611 accused Hafiz Saeed and Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar. Although the global anti-money laundering and terror financing body said the country should continue to work to address its strategically important deficiencies, FATF President Marcus Plyer said the decision was taken at the conclusion of the virtual plenary of the Paris Space Organization. It has asked Pakistan to take action against UN-designated terrorists, including Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Azhar, Lashkar-e-Taiba founder Saeed and its operational commander Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. Bangladesh government has announced a week-long countrywide lockdown in a bid to cope with the sharp rise in the cases of COVID-19 infections. The lockdown will come into force from Monday, and under the new restrictions, all government and private offices will remain closed. No vehicles will be allowed to operate except for emergency and medical services. General movement of people will also be restricted, while this will not be applicable to media people working in media organizations. The country has registered over 8,78,000 cases of the disease with more than 13,000 fatalities. Let's now take a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the world. The virus has infected more than 18.11 crore people worldwide, while recoveries crossing 16.57 crore. COVID-19 has claimed over 39.24 lakh lives globally. The US continues to remain worst affected with the disease, with more than 3.44 crore cases so far. The country's fatalities have surpassed 6 lakh and 19,000. Football now. Knockout matches of Euro 2020 will commence from today. The first match will be played between Wales and Denmark. Wales played a draw against Switzerland in the first match, while they managed to beat Turkey 2-0, which was their first win. However, the team had to face a defeat from Italy. Denmark, on the other hand, lost their first two group matches, but the team bounced back after beating Russia 4-1. In another match, Italy will be up against Austria at Wembley. Comparing both the teams, Italy's team looks strong. The team includes younger players, and their record against Austria is also amazing. 35 matches have been played between the two, which Italy has won 16 encounters. Well, that's all we have in this news bulletin. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.
आइए बनाते हैं भारत की आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी कुल्लकुसुमितध्रुमदलशोभिनी शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी यामिनी पुलकितयामिनी शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी कुल्लकुसुमितध्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदा वरदा सुखदा वरदा मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं।
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.